Hi, I'm Marco from iDoc. Today we present tools for smartphone repairs and show you for which repair you need which tool. First, I want to show you what tools you need to open your iPhone or other smartphones. The hard plastic pick with stopper is used when you want to open the display or back cover. The small stopper in the middle of the pick prevents you from sliding too deep into the device and damage, for example, flex connections. This is the flat pick. You use this when you have loosened the display or back cover so that you have created a gap. Then you can push the flat pick in to make sure that the glue between the display and back cover doesn't stick together again. The iFlex is a very special tool for smartphone repairs. It has a large surface made of metal, but it is very flexible and very thin. With it, you can loosen strongly glued displays or back covers. You can get into the smallest gap. I can highly recommend the iFlex. The iPlastics is similar to the iFlex, but it's a bit thicker. It is made of plastic. The benefit of this is that when removing a back cover, you can't scratch it with the iPlastics. This is the suction cup. You need it, for example, if you want to lift the display. Take the suction cup, place it at the bottom of the display and press it firmly. Pull the display up by pulling the ring. Then take a pick and carefully go into the gap between the display and the frame. Then you can slowly move along the edge and carefully lift up the display. You can not only remove displays, but also back covers with the suction cup. If you want to remove individual components or parts in your smartphone, there are special tools for that as well. The plastic spudger is perfect for loosening contacts. It is slightly bent at the bottom. Due to the fact that it is made of plastic, it cannot cause any short circuits. Before you loosen connectors, pay attention to where components are located. You should always look for a free spot and only lever where there are no components or contacts. This ensures that you do not damage any small components, such as capacitors or filters, on the board. The nylon spudger is used similar to the plastic spudger. It is a bit longer and more stable. It is great for hard-to-reach connections, such as the fingerprint sensor on various smartphone models. The tweezers are great when you want to take small screws or components out of the device. They are also highly recommended when you want to remove antenna plugs, for example. You can loosen them with a slight twisting motion. When you use the tweezers, be careful not to work near the battery connector. It could cause a short circuit. Now we come to the tools you need to remove the smartphone components. The steel spatula is good for loosening glued flex cables. You have two flat ends. Make sure that you heat the flex cable well before you remove it, for example with the heat gun, so that you can get under it easier with a steel spatula. Be careful not to cause a short circuit. If you loosen, for example, a flex cable which is firmly glued, you should always be careful not to damage it. For removing smartphone components, we recommend ESD tweezers. These are perfect for loosening small clips or for grabbing small components. They are also excellent for repositioning and reinserting parts that were previously removed. With the iPlastics, you can loosen large glued parts such as the charging coil or the battery. You can use it to carefully go underneath the individual components and lever them out. You will need the battery spudger if you want to lever out the battery. It has a slightly angled edge on the underside. You can use it to carefully pry out the battery. Be careful not to pry too hard though. We recommend to use the iPlastics additionally to push it under the battery bit by bit. This is the heat gun. You will need it for all firmly glued components and flex cables to heat up the glue and then use a tool to loosen it and pry it out. Alternatively, you can also use a hairdryer. The big advantage of the heat gun is that you can adjust the heat and the heat beam is more focused. Many components in the smartphone are fixed by screws. Most screws can be loosened with a Phillips screwdriver. However, sometimes you need a slotted screwdriver or a Torx screwdriver. There's some more special screws that are often used by Apple, such as the Y-type and pentaloop screws. The pentaloop screws are often used as case screws. Unlike the Torx screws, they have 5 blades instead of 6, so you will need a special pentaloop screwdriver. The Y-type screws are exclusively used by Apple. The name Y-type comes from the Y-shaped profile, so it has 3 blades. Since it is a very fine screw profile, you should make sure to only use the right screwdriver for it, otherwise the screw could be damaged. There is also the standoff screw, which is very special because the screw has its own screw thread. This means the screw can take in another screw. It's used, for example, if the logic board lies above the screw and has to be fixated as well. You also need a special screwdriver for this screw. It has a flat Phillips profile with a centering pin. Alternatively, you can use a slotted screwdriver to loosen the screw. The magneticizer is used to magnetize the screwdrivers so that the screws do not slip off the screwdriver and you can position the screws better. In general, you should pay attention to the quality of the screwdriver. A good one is characterized by the fact that it has an ergonomic handle and a rotating cap. Furthermore, the tip of the screwdriver should be made of hardened material. This makes the screwdriver simply more durable and it's definitely more fun to work with. Last but not least, we will show you a way to store and sort screws and other components during the repair. For organizing, you can use a sorting box or an iDoc magnetic pad. The magnetic pad has a big advantage. You can write on it and thus directly mark where and in which order you have taken the parts out of the smartphone, so that you always know exactly where the parts belong to during the repair. Of course, it is magnetic, so that the screws and other parts do not roll away and get lost. Moreover, if you have screws of different lengths, you can place them on the magnetic pad in the same way as they were in the device. This will prevent you from mixing up the screws when you reassemble the device. I hope the video helped you and that you now have a good insight into the world of smartphone repair tools. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss another video. See you next time.